Jesus said in John that you are my friends if you do whatever I command. We not only have an amazing opportunity to serve him, but we can be his friends as well. What's good, y'all? It's your boy. Look, I don't own the memes. I do own the vibes though. But look, I want to talk about the man, the not myth, the legend, Jesus. So let's get into it. You hear it all the time, how Jesus spoke to the winds and he was like, "Peace, be still." And the winds was like, "My bad." Or how he spoke to demons and he was like, "Be gone. Be gone." And they was like, "Okay." Or how he spoke to death and he was like, "Arise." That's how I imagine he said it. But and death is like, "Okay, Mobby." But what you don't really hear about is how approachable he was in conjunction to being powerful. So we're gonna turn to two passages in the Bible. And I got my handy dandy Bible here. I'm gonna try to read from it. I can read. I just struggle sometimes. Everybody struggles reading sometimes. I'll let you like a professional reader. I read above a 5th grade level. That's all you need to know. I graduated. Whatever. But anyways, we're gonna turn to Matthew 19. And it reads, "Then the little children were brought," well, Matthew 19, 13 through 15. "Then the little children were brought to him that he might put his hands on them and pray. But the disciples rebuked them. But Jesus said, 'Let the little children come to me. Do not forbid them, for such is the kingdom of heaven.' And he laid his hands on them and departed." So, the purpose of reading this one was so we can see his compassion. The purpose of the second one is going to be so you can see his compassion too. But this one is for children. So, because during their time, children weren't viewed as significant, or their childhood wasn't, in a sense. Like infants were often abandoned, abused, brought up as slaves. Some of them, they were owned by beggars or stolen by beggars or anything like that, and they were used to try to compel other people to give money. Like they have a little kid on the corner and begging, and people want to give them money instead of seeing somebody else or something like that, so they were used a lot with families. They were important for the family survival, but their childhood, like stages of life, they were real insignificant at the time. So when I read that the disciples rebuked.
What did he say?
When they did that thing, they was like shoo. It's because of that reason. They didn't really care for children like that. But Jesus showed the compassion that, hey, such is the kingdom of heaven, and he laid hands on them. He didn't give them the hands. He laid hands on them, and that shows his compassion towards people who weren't viewed as significant at that time. All right, so we're gonna move on. And we're going to turn to John chapter 8. John and Kate plus 8. Good show. Sad how it ended, honestly. But, yep. So 8, 1 through 11. We're going to read about an adulterous woman who was caught in the act of doing inappropriate things. And they wanted to publicly shame her and dispose of her and all that jazz. So, I have a lot more reading to do, so pray my strength in the Lord that I can read this, and it's decent. All right. Everyone went to his own house, but Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. I'm at the wrong chapter. Wait, what? Man, they done put chapter 53. Nah, verse 53 under chapter 8. It looked like, but it's under the same section, so I'm out here reading the wrong thing. Anyways, alright. Then the scribes and Pharisees brought him, Jesus, of course. Man, Jesus, alright, so Jesus was teaching. I'm out here skipping. I'm already struggling with the reading thing. This is crazy. I'm gonna put my finger. Oh! Alright. But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Now early in the morning, he came into the temple, and all the people came to him because he was popping. And he sat down and taught them. They wanted to hear his knowledge. Bars, popping knowledge. Woo. Sign me reach records.
Boy, if you don't get...
Alright. And the scribes and Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, Teacher, this woman was caught. She was caught in adultery. In the very act, they say. Alright. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say? They said this testing him, that they might have something which to accuse him. Because they couldn't accuse that man of nothing. You know what I'm saying? But Jesus stooped down. He wrote something with his finger as though they did not hear. As he did not hear. Like they said something to him. He just doodling on the ground. Like, woo-doo-doo. I wonder what he wrote. You know, he probably was just like, he probably wrote, these people are making me irritated. I don't know what he wrote. But alright. So, when they continued asking him, so they had to keep asking him, man. It was like, yo, what should we do? He raised himself up and he said, he who is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone. And he dropped the stone on there. I don't know if he did that, but I imagine he grabbed it, he flipped it in the air, and he was like, he was perfect, without fault, cast this stone at her, and then dropped it at their feet. Anyways, alright, let me keep reading. I'm getting distracted. And he stooped down and rolled on the ground again. Probably like, man, they bugging. Then, those who heard it, being convicted of their conscience, they went out one by one, beginning with the oldest, even to the last. And Jesus was left alone, so they dipped. They was like, you know what, bro? For sure. Alright. So, he raised himself up. He saw no one was around. And he said to them, he said, yo, where your accusers at? Where they at, though?
Where they at, though?
Has no one condemned you? And she said, no one, Lord. And Jesus said to her, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. But the more subtle, compassionate be gone. Compared to the first passage with the children, this one is a little more heavy because that woman's life was at stake here. But, you know, they said they caught her in the act, which is crazy to me because where was the man is what I would ask. Did he already get stoned? Did I miss something here? You know, they came at Jesus like, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus, we got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
But you know, Jesus was like, all right, bet, for sure. I see you brought her here, but like, what y'all want me to do about it? Y'all do something about it. If y'all perfect, you know what I mean? They're not perfect, so they did. And you know, he showed her the compassion. He said, go and sin no more. So this passage really shows that compassion right there, just like the rest. This passion of compassion, capacities that is everlasting mercies.
Boy, if you don't get...
That concludes the two passages. I hope that gives you a better understanding of the type of person he was. Other than his all-powerful being of a self, he was very compassionate as well. Because the way we see Jesus determines how we relate to him. And me, growing up in the church and everything, I heard these stories and everything. I heard about his life, but I never really applied them. I was more childish in a bad way. I just saw him mainly as the powerful figure who really only deserved my obedience when I needed something from him. Like, I didn't really care about how he felt, you know, about my actions, and that was wrong. Because, you know, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. You hear that saying. So why do we sometimes, I mean, we're humans, we mess up, we make mistakes, but why do we try to be good sometimes to an all-time good God? You see what I'm saying? So my thing was, you know, I was expecting stuff from him, when I didn't understand how he felt. You know, he understood how I felt. I was trying to use him. You know, I just wanted his power for myself, but I didn't want to love him. And that was a big thing for me, was really diving into the character of Jesus, to understand him. Because, you know, you got friends. Everybody has friends. Well, I hope you got friends. Friends are nice. You got some bad friends. You got fake friends, of course. But when you got your real friends, your day ones, your homies, your ride or dies, you know, it makes a big difference. And where was I going? Okay. Yes, you have those good friends. And how are they your good friends? Because you got to know them. You know, if you saw this famous, I don't know, basketball player, and he was good at hooping, you're like, oh, that's Cole, I'm picking him up for my team. And that's all you did was pick him up for your team, but you never got to know him. That's all you would see him as, is a great hooper who y'all gonna win 21 every time. You don't play teams on 21. You could play teams on 21. A lot of times it's independent, but yeah. But so you know the character of the person, and once you get to know the character of the person, you get to relate to him more, you get to understand him. And I just want you all to understand Jesus more. I want you to relate to him more. If we only see his power, we would think he wouldn't care. Like, he'd be like the superheroes on The Boys, who just don't care about nothing other than, I guess, being a superhero sometimes. If you haven't watched that, it's on Amazon. It's a great show. It shows like the humanness of the hero. Like, they're not always trying to save Mary Jane. They want to do their own thing. And what their own thing isn't always so superhero-like, you know. But and if you only saw his compassion, you'd think he's a pushover. We treat him too casually, like he don't just got the snap on hand like Thanos. If you see Jesus as just a powerful figure, you're mistaken. If you see him as just a judge, you're mistaken. If you see him as just a caregiver, you're mistaken. If you see him as just anything, you're mistaken. He's powerful enough to deserve our obedience, but humble enough to call us his friend.